Welcome everyone to the second episode of the Console Corner, where we talk everything games. Today's episode is all about indies and their relevance in the gaming world. Before we introduce our panel of gamers, I want to thank everyone who comes out and supports our channel, and who also rocks out with us on Twitter. We really appreciate all of you, and don't forget to ask your questions in the chat. We'll be picking a few to talk about later. Alright, now let's introduce our panel of gamers, starting off with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Crossfire himself, the Mooch.
What's good, everybody? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on the show, GKB. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man. The new YouTube sensation and my partner in crime, Gamers Knows Best, Miss All-Star herself, She-Wolf.
Hey guys, it's She-Wolf here.
Next up, we have the Grandmaster of Gaming Magic and Internet Whimsy, Captain Zazzma.
Hey, this is Captain Zazzma. Boba Fett of the Internet. Ready to go.
This next guy needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. He has the biggest heart on YouTube, the man behind the shop podcast, Mr. PTK Blam.
What up, everybody? Thank you guys for coming out rocking with us. Ready to get down on some of these topics, man. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's do it. Let's get it.
And I'm your host, GKB. All right, on to the topic of today is indies. With the indie boom and games like Ori and the Blind Forest, Unravel, Cobalt, and Witness, it's important to discuss their place and relevancy in the gaming landscape of today. So my first question to the panel is, what is your most recent indie game that you've played, and how frequently do you play indies? Let's go ahead and start with Mooch.
Man, whew. We were just talking about how I never shut up. You might shut me up with that question. I'm kind of on record. I'm going to answer your question, but also stick to subject, which is the indie boom.
Sure.
I grew up during the 80s, 90s, and like the whole thing is this: like we're calling indies today were the AAAs of 1988. Okay.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, dude, because I was totally thinking that for a while.
It is, man. It really is. So a lot of times when people are like, "Oh my God, I can't really wait to go home and play Super Time Force or Shovel Knight," I'm like, "Wait, Shovel Knight is a combination of Mega Man and DuckTales." I've done that before. I'm like, we've all played these games a million times. If you happen to be anywhere above 30, if you're below 30, I'm not saying you haven't, but it's rare. You would have had to actually try to go out to your local mom and pop used game store and purchase these games and experience them. I would say the latest indie game that I've played, and I don't like to even call it an indie, is Ori and the Blind Forest. It was not an indie, but I guess I'll classify it because it's a 2D scroller.
Mm-hmm.
And now if something is eluding me and it comes back to me, I will most definitely shout out.
Sure.
But that's the latest game, and don't get me wrong, I will say this much. I loved Ori, and there's certain games that are in the 2D scroller that I can't wait to play. Like I'm looking forward to, I believe it's Magic Number 9, if I'm saying that right.
Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9,
Yeah.
which is basically Mega Man again.
Exactly.
But I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to games like Below, and Below's actually the one I'm really looking forward to. But Inside and Cuphead, these are games that, of course, Microsoft is pushing. But realistically, what I like about them are they're cleaner, of course, better looking, with a new twist, 2D scroller that brings something new to the table. Like I came really close to buying Shovel Knight. I came really, really close to pushing the button, and then I was like, but I just can't see coming home after I work all day, take care of the family, we hang out, kids go to sleep, and then I'm going to play, an 8-bit looking game. I just don't know if I can do that. You know what I mean? I'm going to have a really hard time with it. So I would say, I guess to answer your question in short, is Ori, and anyone who hasn't played that game, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Like, it is unbelievably good, and it's challenging. Like,
It reminds me of Mario.
Yes. It does. Well, there is a lot of jumping. There's a ton. Mario 3 especially, it really does have a lot of the jumping elements. I was trying to think of a game that it reminded me of, and nothing like pops out, but the difficulty level was so like the old SNES, NES games, Genesis, whatever,
Right.
that's
where you want to like throw your controller against the wall kind of thing.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for the amazing music soundtrack in Ori, I would have been my fourth controller by now.
Awesome, Mooch. All right, we're gonna move on to Zaz there.
Last one I played in technicality was that free Hand of Fate game that just came out, but recently purchased would be that medieval chivalry, medieval warfare one. It's on sale recently. It's all right, I guess. It's state of indies in general. Like I have a ton of to talk about them, but most recently played it would have been Hand of Fate, which was actually really good. So I would recommend downloading it while it's free.
Nice. Do you regularly play indies, Zaz?
Depends on what they are, because I have the absolute love-hate with indies, and I'll get to it when we get to it, but
Sure.
I mean, like State of Decay is one of my favorite games. I love that game, and I think that would technically be classified like in that gray area of not being a very big publisher. So I got a few opinions on it, to say the least.
Okay. How about you, Blim?
Ori would probably be the last one. Ori, to be honest with you, like I said, I think all of us here are pretty much like hit or miss with indies. Like, either it's something that we're gonna sit down and play and we're gonna enjoy. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy the shit out of Cuphead and Below, games like that. Then you have a lot of other games that, and like Mooch said, you get home, long day at work, you kind of don't want to come home and play like an 8-bit side scroller. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. Right. So I mean, Ori it's kind of like blurring that line, though, man, because Ori actually got like a lot of recognition, as far as like even Game of the Year, recognition, and so it kind of blurs that line. There's a few games that are like in that gray area, like Zazzma was saying. So for me, it's pretty much hit or miss. I mean, honestly though, this year though, there's a lot of indies, quote unquote, and I'm going to do the air quotes for the indies, that I'm really, really looking forward to, because these games are really, really pushing the envelope as far as like creative design and just really doing some different things. And a lot of these small teams are really stepping up, man. And I can see a lot of these guys being picked up to make larger games. So the line is getting like thinner and thinner between like indie and like a AA or something like that. Well, so I'm looking forward to it.
You said something right there, and I just want to bring this point up. And the jury's out right now, okay? Because State of Decay was great. But we're going to give Undead Labs, okay, which has gotten a nice little contract, I believe, with Microsoft, to kind of take that step up, right? We're all expecting them to come out with Class 4, which is supposed to be their next game. Now, if Class 4 is AA or better, they've progressed. What you just said, let's see if they take some of these smaller games that are talented developers. Let's see if we can move them up to the next level. That's very interesting. It makes this boom era kind of worthwhile. If Class 4... This is just opinion. If Class 4 happens to be at the same caliber, but 4 people can play together on State of Decay, I'm not saying it's a failure, but I'm saying that what we're doing is treading water. So I'm just interested to see where Undead Labs takes that little bit of a financial boost, because Microsoft saw something special in them and gave them the opportunity to take a step up. I just want to see how they can kind of do that. So when you just said that, I thought that was a great point. That's what I'm looking for, and I'm using that particular developer as I'm putting my monocle on and watching them. So go ahead, GKB. I'm sorry, I did what I usually do, but that was a great point. Great point.
No, you all done there, Blam?
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, go ahead, and She-Wolf.
Okay, so indies that we've played recently. Well, I have 1080 The Moon, I have Noma, I have Level 22, I have Ori and the Blind Forest. So I've kind of had a wide variety of indies in the last couple of weeks. Definitely all different, like having 1080 The Moon. That one was completely interesting to play, and even though there was parts that drove me absolutely crazy, I just wanted to keep going back and playing it anyways. And it was so simple, and of course it reminds me of like those old phone games, like the Snake one, or you have Centipede and stuff like that, where they're just so simple, but they just keep your mind going. I also play, like, of course, the cheesy Frozen one that's kind of like Bejeweled, but that's just because, well, I just like something simple sometimes where I can just not really think too much, but just kind of flip through something. And Ori, yes, I love that. It reminds me of Mario having to jump around and spinning and all that kind of stuff. So, also, yes, somebody just said it, Oxenfree also played that as well. So, all different kind of indie games in the last couple months, actually.
Nice. A lot for me too. I'm doing the road to 100K, so I'm playing. There's a ton of different games that I've never probably would have played, and a lot of that is indies. I played Oxenfree, of course. I played Level 22, the Moon game.
Pretty much every game I said.
Yeah, well, I just played through Unravel too, so yeah, I'm playing a lot of indies right now. So yeah. All right, let's go into the.
Which one's your favorite?
Out of those indies?
Yeah.
Oh man, it'd probably Ori, man. That game is just phenomenal.
It is really good. No, I didn't know because when you said you play and don't get me wrong, like that wasn't even sarcastic. Like I literally have always asked, and a friend of mine, I'm always going to say, I call him Rand, and I know his real name Matt.
Yeah.
Randolph Thor. He plays a lot of games, and I really value his opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, speaking of Rand, sorry, I don't mean to cut anyone off. We were actually watching his Twitch stream, me and GKB, and he streams a lot of those indies. So hey, shout out to Rand, everybody. Go check out his Twitch. He streams these, and you can win them. I actually won one of the one of his giveaways.
Let me find out. How about that? I don't make myself the Mooch for nothing. No, I mean, I think that, like, I asked Rand, and I said, Rand, can you tell me? And he goes, I've known you for a while. I know what kind of games you like. And he did tell me that I should try Oxenfree. Now, what I did was, instead of doing that, I did actually what you just said, She-Wolf. I actually went on to Twitch, and I just watched about 15 minutes. It happened to be somebody who just started from the beginning. And about 7 minutes into a 15 minutes show, I was asleep.
Yeah.
And I'm not being funny. I had a hard time with it because I said, here's another one of those things where it's a game where it's like go up, interact with somebody, and then there's no action. There's nothing really going on. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like a puzzle game. I certainly do. I love Portal. Okay, I like playing those kinds of games. But for some reason, I'm having a hard time connecting with them. And like She-Wolf. Now, you said, was it you who said they liked Oxenfree?
Oh, we played it.
No, we played it, but I was actually really I'm not going to give anything away, but I was actually pretty disappointed. I love the paint colors and stuff because I like that kind of stuff, like art and all that. But again, just talking to people, the story, you would think it was going one way where it was so intense, and then all of a sudden it was, I don't know, to me personally, the ending was a letdown.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
Oh, wow, I heard there was something about the thing that intrigues me is that it's supposed to be like, is it kind of not scary, but there's a freaky twist or something?
It's more of it's the interaction between the people which adds a lot of the tension to the game.
Okay.
And it definitely leads toward a certain moment that you're thinking, but then when it gets to that point that you think it's going to happen, it completely doesn't, and it's just a complete letdown at the end, which I thought was really sad, but.
Huh. Okay. That leaves a lot to be desired. Then I heard the same thing from a few different people about that game. Some people loved it. Some people were middle of the road, kind of like you guys who loved the art style, some of the gameplay mechanics, and then the story was kind of a letdown. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll give it a shot, man. How much is it right now? How much it cost?
It's not worth it. It is not worth it.
That was the problem. Yeah, it was $20.
And it's only 4 hours.
Yeah.
No way. Not for 4 hours. Yeah, that's crazy.
I would wait for a sale. Anybody that's listening, and try and pick that up for around 10. You'd be much happier. Don't get it for the 20. That's just throwing that out there.
All right, cool. All
right, guys, let's go ahead and let's move on. My next topic I wanted to cover is just what are your guys' impressions of like the indie genre in general, and what do you think what do you think the relevance is to today's gamers? Let's go ahead and start with Zaz on this one.
Oh, the relevance of it. I mean, in honesty, indies are something that I'm so love or hate with across the board, because there are some that are really good production value, there are some that I love, and then some of them feel like a Minecraft-style cash grab almost to me. Okay. That's how a lot, like, I'm going through, I mean, I'm just, for reference point, nothing against the genre as a whole, but I don't like seeing that almost everything is this side scroller. Like, I just went through the Xbox store just for like looking at it and I looked at all the indies, and a good like 75% of them are either this 8-bit stuff or this side scrolling stuff. I don't know if it's just the trying to get like a quick game out there. I don't know if I'm just fatigued because I've only thought like a few of them were good. I really like Super Meat Boy. I thought that was a good game. Very challenging. I mean, there are a few that I think are good. It's just it's the nature of the beast, really. I'm looking at this War of Mine, The Little Ones. This is a mobile game that has been basically ported, and they're charging $30 for it. I don't know in what universe that goes,
Yeah.
but like, and it's the price thing is what's hanging me up on most of these. I want to play Firewatch really bad, but I heard it's only got a 6-hour storyline and it's $20. I can't justify most of that,
Right.
especially when I basically paid for State of Decay Game of the Year for like $20. Well, not Game of the Year, but their
And you got like
collection.
3 campaigns in there.
Oh yeah, 3 campaigns. I mean, I was playing that game for how long? Like 2 weeks straight, and I can't justify a 6-hour game for $20. I just gotta hope it comes free, like on the store pretty soon. And I'm unhappy with it to say the least. I'm not impressed.
Cool. How about you, Blam? What are your impressions of the indie genre, and is it still relevant today?
Definitely relevant. Definitely relevant. I think a lot of talented people come from that indie genre. As far as developers, things like that. A lot of cool ideas come from the indie space, and we need that. You need that constant flow of creativity, constant flow of pushing the limits, because there's certain things that these big AAA studios can't do. They can't afford. Like Call of Duty can't go and all of a sudden put puzzles in COD and stuff. Like they just can't. They have to stick to what they do well because it makes money. So we have these indies which have their place in the gaming world. They're able to push, different ideas and different things and strategies and different things like that. So I love the fact that that they can do that. Also, on the flip side of that, like Zazzma was saying, there's a lot of shovelware. Lot of shovelware. So I mean, we see it in our mobile devices. You go to the Android store, if you have iOS, Apple, you go to the 70% of it's trash. It's just like a repeat of some of the stuff you just saw on page 1. You know what I'm saying? Like just a different name. So I think the cream will always rise to the top. You do have your exceptions, like an Oxenfree. I guess you could say Oxenfree, like an Ori, like something like that ends up being bigger than it actually is, or ends up being a really really damn good game. So we'll see what happens with that. And just I want to give a shout out to Chris Charla, the people at ID at Xbox, because I really, really think people were jumping on Xbox about the policy issue earlier on. If you remember, like a couple years ago, they had that whole policy or whatever the case may be. But these guys, if you look at the indies that are coming out at ID at Xbox, most of them are quality games. Most of them are not the 2D side-scroller games that we're seeing in the Xbox store now. So a lot of the games like Everspace, there's a bunch I could actually name. A lot of them are really high quality. So I think people are really trying to step their game up. But like Zazzma said, I mean, there's a lot of shovelware, a lot of BS out there. So if you can avoid that, there's a lot of hidden gems in there too. So I think it's very relevant. I think it's growing. I think they're in a great place right now as far as indie developers. I just want to see, as Mooch stated earlier, them progress. Maybe some of these bigger companies find some of this talent. Microsoft got Studio MDHR, the Cuphead developers, and they're getting that exclusive. So, these very talented people with these great ideas, and, these bigger studios get behind them, we see better games. So, I think it's still relevant.
Awesome. What about you, She-Wolf?
Well, I have to say... Ooh, there's an echo. Well, first off, actually, something that Blam said about indies. I don't know if any of you guys have actually noticed. There's one called the Lost Pisces. There's been like screenshots of it and stuff like that. It's supposed to be an indie.
It looks great.
Yeah,
it does, doesn't it? It looks like an amazing game. I actually had it as my wallpaper and stuff for a while. But I think, truthfully, indies are a really good filler for, when you're waiting for all those AAA games to come out. It's something that, gamers can keep up their skills. Gamers can, everybody wants those achievements and stuff like that to have something to work towards. So I think indies are definitely relevant to this day and age. It's also, there's a lot of good games for kids to play and stuff like that. And I really do think it's relevant. I don't agree with the prices. I do think they need to work on that kind of stuff. But other than that, yeah, I do think it's irrelevant.
Awesome. I think there's still a place for indies. As far as the talent and what everybody else is saying too is, let's get behind some of these guys and let's push them. One of the big things that's kind of been letting me down a little bit is I don't see the innovation anymore in in indies. So I hope that changes, and a lot of it is just shovelware, and it's really hard to find some of those gems without channels like Rand's, and he's twitching all kinds of games like that. And, it's really hard to find them sometimes. So I think there's still a place for them. What about you, Mooch?
Well, I mean, I like the way you titled the show today. Like I said, we're calling it the indie boom. Okay. Sometimes when you look at an indie a boom in general, okay, we all have to wait a little while before we can evaluate. Okay. So there was the baby boom, we all know, right? Yep. And now we're able to sit here and say, okay, because of the baby boom, one of the problems we're having is Social Security, blah blah blah. But it took time. Nobody 10 years after the babies were born were like, oh, we're fucked. So like here's the thing with the indie boom. Okay, we're gonna find out probably first, second year in the next generation, whether or not this was just some kind of a hoax and a gimmick, or if it was something like we're all saying. And let me explain. So let's put something a little bit more into perspective. We've all watched the Brady Bunch, right, or something ridiculous from the 70s,
yeah.
or even that 70s show.
Yeah.
You look at the decor, right? When was the last time you've ever walked into anyone's house now that's been built in the last 20 years that has an orange countertop and brown cabinets? And you sit there and you're like, what the F were they thinking? Okay, what was wrong?
Unless they're stuck in the past. Then you might.
That's it. Exactly. And they're like in some kind of time warp. Which is like sometimes when I'm speaking to somebody who loves indie so much, they are stuck in 1979 and still smoking a joint. Like there's something wrong with them, and you're like, what is happening? But I mean, in all honesty, I think that what we have to look at with the indie boom is where is this going to go? And the way I like to look at it is this is to that as this is to that. And I think the Broadway and small plays are the indies to like the AAA movies we go see, right? Mm-hmm. And to further explain that, like I don't know if you guys ever watched Behind the Actors Guild or Behind the Actors with that James Lipton. It's on 59. Will Ferrell makes fun of it and stuff like that, but whatever. Like I watched that one day and I was like, oh my God, there was a guy raised his hand and it was Bradley Cooper, but he was just a kid. He was just a kid. Does that mean that Bradley Cooper as a kid in acting school didn't have any talent? No. He had talent. We love him in all the movies like American Sniper, blah, blah, The Hangover. Okay, great, we know. But the indie is the Bradley Cooper back in acting school. And if you don't progress to the AAA level, generally all those other people that were sitting in the audience at the Screen Actors Guild studio, I don't know who the rest of those people around Bradley Cooper were because they didn't make it anywhere. They were making shitty indies. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, what we're going to see in this boom is something great come out in the next 5 years, or it's literally going to be the boom of the orange countertop and the brown cabinets. So that's what I think we're going to see come 2019, 2020, 2021 was this worth all of this banter by the media? Because let's just call a spade, okay? Sony's doing it for financial reasons. We're into the third year, and we don't have one of Sony's trademark games on the PS4. Okay, so nobody can argue with me on that anymore. Okay, and then Sony's pushing indies. The media, of course, is pushing Sony. So we're getting indies shoved down our throat. And shout out to Chris Charlotte, like you were saying, man has done an outstanding job. And when he takes the stage, I'm all ears because he's the James Lipton. Okay, he's introducing these people to you that are putting out different types of games that are very interesting. But a lot of times, my problem, and Blam, this is what you were talking about, is my issue is that these indie games come out with one really cool niche. Like for example, we said Call of Duty can't put puzzles in it, but Call of Duty has 80 things going on. Yeah, we're all used to it now. Bad example. Yeah. But like the indie game that you pop in has one cool thing about it, and you have to do it for 4 to 10 hours.
Can I cut in for a minute?
Oh, by all means.
Talking about the Call of Duty thing, they actually did put an indie game inside Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Yeah. When you go into like the campaign, there's like this little computer you go in, and there's like indie games on it.
It's cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's an overhead shooter.
I didn't know that.
I think so, yeah. I think it's like a little ship shooter thing or something. Well then, okay, Mooch, I have a question for you then.
Sure.
How do you feel about the fact that Ori and the Blind Forest was named #1 Xbox Game of the Year, and it's an indie?
That's bittersweet. It is an accomplishment. I think it's something that Xbox, what I would do. Now, let me answer your question two ways. Me, all right, Mooch, just a guy who plays games, a little disappointed because I thought there was better than Ori. Yeah, but as far as Microsoft's concerned, you know what I would do? I'd be like, I own that little furry fuzzball that people love. I'm going to make that one of my top 4 icons, and I'm going to market him and I'm going to make him as big as Kirby. I'm going to make him as big as Kirby was for Nintendo. You know, and that's what I would do. I would have him on every box. Absolutely, everyone did, right? I mean, how did you not?
Or Spyro, if you think
it was just,
Spyro.
it's an amazing marketing thing. You know, I mean, it appeals to, you hate to say it, but it appeals to the younger generation, appeals to women. Like, my wife loved watching me play Ori. She's like, put in Ori. It's amazing. I think it's the cutest little thing in the world. Like, I mean, listen, it sells, right? You know, so perspectives, you got to look at it from Microsoft's side, and you got to look at it as, you know, you, the individual gamer. So I guess, like, that's to answer your question, She-Wolf. It's kind of bittersweet, you know.
So then, okay, I have to ask this to everybody then, just going off that topic. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think Unravel, because it has the same feel to it, could become this year's Xbox Game of the Year just because of Ori?
Well, it's a multi-plat, so I don't know if it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
it
a
also
multi-plat.
feels more. It also feels more Limbo than Ori to me.
Yeah. I haven't played Unravel as of yet, but I don't know, just the vibe I'm getting from it. I mean, I know people are like yarny, and you know, it kind of pulls on the heartstrings. No pun intended, by the way. Pulls on the heartstrings a little bit. You know, and I know people are kind of comparing it a little. I've seen some here and there, but Ori is just it's something different about Ori, and it's like a painting. Like you ever been in a museum and see a painting that you don't necessarily understand, but you're like, oh man, it's a beautiful painting. I don't really know what's going on, but it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things you just look at and you know it's something different. Like, that's what I mean by like blurring the lines between an indie and like a AAA or AA, you know, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it. There's just not very many games that come out and have the impact of like an Ori. It's like a once in a. In fact, I don't even think there's been any this generation as big as Ori that I can think of. It has there. I mean, that you can classify as an indie. I don't really.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't really think there's been anything on that level from anybody from any system. So I could be wrong. If somebody says something different in the chat, let me know. But Ori is fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't put Unravel on that level yet. And it's a multi-plat. Ori wasn't a multi-plat, so.
Well, the only reason I asked that was because even though it's a multi-plat, I know that, but they seem to like to give Xbox, I don't know, the downshaft, whether it's a multi-plat or not. They seem to, like, what was it? There was one game that was like a multi-plat, and yet they named it on Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. The question, it was a multi-plat that what?
They won an award for Xbox, but it was a multi-plat, and me and GKB couldn't understand how they won it. I can't remember what it was right now.
Gamescom thing for like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Was it Metal Gear Solid?
I know, like it was really weird because that's the one I remember. It was like an award for MGS5 for like best Xbox shooter.
Yeah, something like that. But it was a multi-plat, so that's why it was just a question.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, guys, let's move on. That was awesome. So this topic here is near and dear to my heart because it's kind of one of the frustrating things I'm having with the indie so far. Is I'm really interested in, like, with The Witness coming out, you know, with a huge price point of like $40, as well as other indie titles with like prices all over the place. Do you all think there should be some kind of standardization, and what price points do you guys think would be fair for indies? Let's go ahead and start with Blam on this one.
Well, I'm gonna quote this. Not all indies are created equal.
Okay.
We've seen that, you know, throughout time and time again. There are some games that are worth a goddamn $1, and there are other games that are worth every bit of $20. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if there could be like a standardized price because, I mean, I don't know what the system is to like get your game put on Xbox Live or PSN or whatever the case may be, but there's a lot of bullshit, you know what I'm saying, as far as in the indie category. So I don't know if they could like come to like a middle ground or categorize each indie like a small indie, big indie, medium-sized indie. I don't know how that would work, but that's a great question, man. I definitely think that though some of these games really need to take a step back and say, okay, is my game really worth this much? Because some of these guys, like you said, Oxenfree is $20, 4 hours, not worth it. I don't care how great the game is. I mean, the game better get up and make me a sandwich for $20. So I'm not paying $20 for a 4-hour game. I don't care what it is. It could be a AAA game. I'm not doing it. So there's a lot of discrepancy between, you know, the prices, and I have seen where some games are very good and are, you know, $4, $5, $6, $7, under $10. And there are some games that are $20, $30 that aren't very good at all. So I think there has to be something done. I really think it's up to the people that are making these games to kind of say, hey, take a step back and say, hey, what's going on? Is our game really worth this much? I don't know.
Do you think Microsoft or Sony should start doing some testing on these, or do some playthroughs with maybe some Q&A sessions with people? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a waste of resources. I mean, honestly, I don't know if you want to go find 10 people to come in this room and play this 2-hour game, 2-hour side scroller for however long, and pay them to do it. Or it just sounds like it'll take a lot for them to go through each one and say, hey, is this game good or not? And then after the Q&A, whatever the case may be, they throw a price like, okay, this game is only worth $10. I don't know if it's even worth it. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly why I don't think there's ever going to be a standardized system to come up with a price for every indie or something like that. So I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. So
cool. All right, She-Wolf, what about you?
Well, I have to start with saying that, truthfully, I think for price range, it could go by time, I guess, because why, if I can be if a game is put out to be for 4 hours, why should it be $20 when you get other games that are longer, say 10 hours, but they're only $6? So, there could be some point to where they could hit a price range for the length of the game.
Okay.
I understand, there is quality, of course, but if I can play a game, and it's even been clocked at that time, saying 4 hours, then, for instance, Oxenfree was only 4 hours, and I had to pay $20 for it. It wasn't worth it. So I really think that they need to really look at their prices, especially with games. Captain said one earlier that's $39 or something, or $30. I think that's just a little ridiculous, because AAA games, truthfully, I think some of them are ridiculous with their prices with $60. So I think sometimes they're just kind of trying to hit more of, they want to make money than what it should actually be for.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, this is a topic I've been going around, big shout out to Rand again, but I was on his stream and stuff, and I was asking him the same question, and we were kind of on the thing is $10 to $15 range would be good. Also, I think Microsoft has a good thing in place with the preview program. Maybe every indie that comes out, maybe they could just throw it on there for a week or so to let people try. And then take the data from that and see, maybe they can figure out some kind of standardization with that. But, playing a lot of these games and doing the 100K gamer score, I kind of feel let down a lot of the time where I'm putting $20 into these games, and really they should only have been $5 or $10. So, I hope they figure something out soon, because most of these games are almost kind of rip-offs, and, I hate to say it, but it kind of is. What about you, Mooch?
Well, I mean, me and you are going to sound like twins on this, because maybe it's because I've had this conversation a lot of times. I'm playing at night, and Rand hops in my party because he's usually trying to attack a game to get some gamer score, and he'd rather bullshit than listen to the pointless story in some of the indies. And I do think you guys kind of nailed it. I think, let's put it this way: it's always the law of averages. Good games, for the most part, are all $20. When you get assholes like Jonathan Blow that puts $40 price tag on The Witness, okay, that's because he took too long to make the game. His production value was through the roof, and a lot of things suffered for that. And one of the things that suffered for it was his sales, because he had to put the price so high. But most games that come out on time are $20. And now Oxenfree, I agree with every person that said what they said. She-Wolf nailed it. $20 for 4 hours? No way, not happening. But I will say this much: it was a good production. Okay, from top to bottom, it's a good game. As far as whatever that game is, do I like it? Not necessarily, but it's a good game. $20 is the high side for a good indie. It looks like bad indies start at 10, and those are the ones that drop down to $3, $4, $5, $6.
Mm-hmm.
So to start, if you were going to do this, which I think we all agree will never happen, I would just pick $15. I think then after 3 to 6 months, I don't know. I have to look at, I don't know any of the analytics. But after 3 to 6 months, then you start dropping the price based on its popularity or how it's selling. So I think that's the best way to go. The other thing that you said that literally I just jotted down and then you said it and I started scribbling it out. I'm like, oh, GKB just said it, is let people play it. Because, listen, there's nothing, I don't care how big YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, no matter how Xbox pushes it, ID at Xbox, the PlayStation folks, you're not going to get people to run home and can't wait to plunk $20 down on an indie. It's just not going to happen.
Everyone's going to wait for those Black Friday sales.
Right. So let people play a game. Like, let them play, literally, you have to play like 10 minutes. You can't, because some of these games aren't very long, so you can't play a level. Right, you'll know in 10 minutes. It's like, if you've been a gamer long enough, within 10 minutes, you know if you like the game or not. There's probably a list of 5 you could name since you were born that you were like, I hated it, and then I loved it. There's like 5. The rest you just loved the minute you started playing. So, because it's like a movie. You know a movie's going to be good in the first 10 minutes, generally. There's always a couple of, oddities. But, I think if you have to put a number, it's 15. Do I ever think that'll happen? Probably not. But I think at 15, you could talk somebody who's on the fence into buying the game, right? Like, if you're like, I'm not really sure. Come on, man, it's $15. All right. Like, once you say 20, and that goes across all products, right? I don't care if we're talking about liquor bottles. I don't care if you're talking about a car. That's why they put everything at $19.99. Isn't that the stupidest thing? Just put 20.
Yeah.
No, because the 2 scares people. So once you put 15, and some people don't look at it as halfway to 20. Some people look like they're still on the downside of 10. So it's all a mind game. It's a human factors debate. But I would say 15 is the best, and I think it gives them the best chance of grabbing a more wider audience.
Awesome. What about you, Captain Zaz?
The price thing is something that frustrates me so bad. I feel like I have been, I've been deprived of games because I'm so cheap about it, that I really want to play. Like Gone Home, I really want to play. $20 though, because they say it's only got like 5 hours on it. Firewatch, I really want to play. Only 5 hours. I'm not spending $20. I feel like it'd be a better use of my money just taking it to a casino or something, because if I'm going to throw it away, I might as well throw it away. I don't want to see it for this little amount of time and then it be done. And I think like half of the problem with it too is some of the hype behind these games. And it's, again, just going back to talking about E3 is what I generally end up doing. It's half of the hype behind it. I bet you anything No Man's Sky is going to end up being at a $60 price point. Firewatch got up to the higher price point because it got so much hype behind it. I mean, I don't know how much Fez was when that originally came out, but we were all dangling on the side waiting for it because Phil Fish didn't know what he was doing. And it's like he can set whatever price he wants because it gets so hyped. And then it's like, okay, well, the more money I can make out of it, because I really do want to play No Man's Sky, but there's no way I'm going to pay $20 for it, let alone $60. I think it's the hype problem.
Let me ask you a question there, Zaz. So, with the hype question, do you think they start believing in the hype, maybe, and that's what drives up the prices? Do you think?
No, I think that. I mean, like obviously, like we could talk about the hype train all day. Even with AAAs, because you know me, I mean, I bought the full edition of Battlefront day one, and $100 or $120, sorry, right there, and I mean, I haven't even played it that much. In honesty, it didn't have that much to do. So the hype train is very obviously there. It's hiking up the prices, I think, because like at the end of the day, both of these companies, every company involved is a business, and they're going to charge what they think they can get out of it. And it's maybe it's hurting their sales. I've heard the Witness's sales have actually been pretty good, but going right back to that,
pirated too.
Yeah, his pirating sales, right? Or not pirating sales, but his pirating numbers are through the roof.
Yeah.
It's just because it's like nobody wants to pay $40 for these games. So I mean, I feel like not only are they maybe like shooting themselves in the foot by this, because I'm not going to play Gone Home, I'm not going to play Firewatch until they drop to like $4. Right. In honesty, is it hurting them? Maybe. Is the hype hurting them? I think definitely. I mean,
Zaz, if I can, I'll tell you something. And GKB, I think you were on the Crossfire when we were discussing this, but you brought up a really good point. and Zaz was saying that he basically bought the season pass for Battlefront. And I came extremely close the other day. It was about a week ago, and I was going to buy the Division, the Ultimate or the Gold Edition or whatever they're calling it. And I said, well, wait a minute, why am I doing that? Like, I don't get a break. Like, don't you think if you're buying DLC blindly that you should get a break? Because basically it's like a stock, right? It's like a stock option. You're actually putting money, you're investing into this developer saying, I believe, and here's the money to do it in advance, that you're going to give me great DLC content. Mm-hmm. But in order to do that, like when you get in on stocks early, they're cheaper, okay? And then as the stock gets hot, it goes up. And then if you want to get in on it, like if you go buy Apple stock right now, you're foolish. You should have bought it back in 1999.
Right.
And like that's just the way it is, okay? So what I was saying on the show last week and what I've said on other shows is that basically I recommend from now on, and this is not to say, because you guys, the reason I bring it up is I'm a huge Division fan. I know you guys are too.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just, you know, I mean, we're all drooling to get to it, right?
Right.
But you actually know what's in the season pass, right?
I know what they say is coming, but I don't know how good it's going to be.
Right. Yeah, we don't know.
You know, and here's the thing, though. Here's my whole point, She-Wolf. If I plunk down the $100 right now, all I'm going to get is the story we all know, plus the regular game. Now, when Joe Blow goes and picks up the DLC in 3 months, he's going to pay the same price we did, and maybe it's going to suck. I'm just saying. I don't think it's going to suck at all. But I'm saying, like, why put this money out? Where I'm going with this is $99 is not what we should be charged, or whatever it is, the $100. It should have been $89 or $75 because they can use that money. I always say this: DLC is like a gym membership, right? $10 a month. You go for the first 3 months, and then you belong for the next 3 years, and you never go. Okay, you're not even using their oxygen. You're not going. You know what I mean? They're just getting your $10 a month. So DLC. Now, Division's a bad example, but let me go back to Zazz's. Zazz bought Battlefront. When they come out with their DLC, their new maps, no one's even gonna give a shit. We're all gonna be playing Division and Quantum Break and whatever else is coming down the pipe. My point is that Zazz, I'm not picking on you, buddy, because I've been in that boat too. You gave them your money, and you're really not gonna go back to it. So they got your $40, and it is what it is. They made out on it. It's like a gym membership. You know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting subject. I know it's not related to indies, but it does all get into pricing and how they do this. I think if you're going to charge somebody for DLC in advance, there should be a discount. Right. And when Zaz said that, it hit a nerve with me because I've been a victim of that. I'm sure everyone on this panel has been a victim of that. Oh, yeah. And and everyone listening has been a victim. And like all
spending.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like all I say now is wait to buy the DLC. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't believe in pre-ordering. That's different. I mean, we, as a gamer, you know what's coming down the pipe in the games. I mean, we see the gameplays at the E3s. We know what's going on. The developers are doing tons and tons of shows 2 months before. So to go and pre-game, at a GameStop or pre-order it digitally on your Xbox, it makes plenty sense to me. But DLC, I think I'm a huge BioShock freak. I'm a BioShock nut. Like, I played 1, 2, and Infinite. I beat Infinite 5 times, and I still couldn't 100% it. I'm at like 925 gamer score. I almost killed myself. But like literally, I bought the DLC for it, and it was a letdown, And I thought it was, and I love the series. So I don't know. Like all I'm saying is that I think as consumers, when you're dealing with indies or you're dealing with DLC, I don't curse it out. All I say is, look, if you don't want to give me a discount, that's fine. You guys are the boss. All I'm saying is I'm not going to buy it till I see the product.
Good point.
Good point.
Well, on that point, though, I have to say that with YouTubers and streamers, though, they definitely make a really good impact for helping with deciding whether or not you want to buy the game as well, because you actually get a taste of it, even though you can't really play it yourself.
I agree.
That's a good point, yeah.
I agree.
Awesome topic, guys. Great conversation. Let's go on to the next subject here. Today we had a big indie title launch that everyone is talking about and kind of got some mixed reviews. But I wanted to see what the panel thinks about the Unravel game. Have you guys played it? What have you known about it? We're going to go ahead and start with She-Wolf on this one.
All right, well, I've played it. I did get to play Early Access as well, so I got to play the first 2 levels. And then, of course, the game was released today. The graphics are amazing. It is definitely, a really cute, colorful, bubbly game. There are parts where it actually makes you pretty sad. There's definitely different weather effects, which they got really nice. GKB kind of pointed this out before. It's kind of like Curse of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, Max Curse of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, Max Curse of the Brotherhood, where he does a lot of the swinging and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely coming off of where I wish games would kind of be a little more unique. I wish they would actually kind of not look at other games and like you notice so much of the exact same games in each of them that just I guess kind of ruins it just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the story, so far right at the beginning, the story makes no sense. It really doesn't tell you much about him at all. So that kind of doesn't help much.
Awesome. Yeah. I played through the whole game. The graphics are amazing. I'm not going to deny that. But the whole time I'm playing it, I'm thinking I'm playing Max Curse of the Brotherhood, or a little bit of Limbo with some of the puzzles and stuff. It was a good game, but man, again, I was looking for something more unique. It left me wanting. I think it was a good price point. Any higher, I probably would have said no. But overall, it was all right. What about you, Mooch? You played it? Have you seen anything?
To be honest with you, I purposely watched, oh my God, at least the first two. I watched the first two levels played, and then I watched Major Nelson did a live stream. I have EA Access. I did not download it. Here's the thing, like I have to agree with everything you guys have already said. For me, it wasn't anything new. And you guys, at least I'm on recording, so you guys don't think I'm just saying this, but I'm literally, I said this on, I think it was BGST last night. I said something along the lines of, it reminds me of Max Curse of the Brotherhood and Limbo. It's two. They just took the brightness of Max, and they took the game mechanics of Limbo. And to me personally, that's not bringing. And same thing, Zaz, tell me if you agree with me on this. Like, to be honest with you, Battlefront, I have Battlefront, and should I start the sentence like everybody does? Yeah, great graphics, it's pretty, but like the game is idiotically boring, and there's nothing to it. Here's the thing: I think we all need more, right? I mean, it is nice to have something that looks good, but you need some depth. You need something behind that pretty face, if you will. Like you just can't have this game. And don't get me wrong, Unravel looks great. Star Wars looks great, but behind it is an emptiness. And a lot of people will look the other way for $20 and they'll plunk it down. But here's the problem with Unraveled: you picked the wrong time to come out, because there's a lot of people. I don't know, and I'm so biased here. Okay, I love Dying Light. I have 75 hours in the Dying Light.
Hey,
so
Mooch,
yes.
Could I cut him just 1 second,
No,
brother?
go ahead.
And I'll let you finish. Hey guys, look, we're talking games here. We're not talking console war crap. So please cut it out. I don't want to kick people, but I will if it keeps up. So please stop. Go ahead, Mooch.
Okay, yeah, no. What I was saying basically is just like the whole thing behind the timing, okay? Like everyone knows my whole thing with Soccer Cars. Soccer Cars it was lightning in a bottle. It came out in August when nothing was coming out on the PlayStation 4. It was genius, absolutely genius. Was it planned that way? Who knows? But it worked out great for them. But Unraveled came out when you've got Dying Light, the following, coming out tonight. There's Street Fighter V coming out in a few weeks. There's what is it there? Oh my God, Primal. Far Cry Primal's coming out soon.
February 23rd.
February 23rd, right? And then you've got
Division's coming out March 8th.
Yeah, and then right after that it's Quantum Break. And I know I'm jumping into April, but my point is that Unraveled's going to kind of just, I don't think it's going to tank. I just think it's going to be one of those indies that was like, meh, just kind of, people are going to say like in 2 years, you remember that? And you're going to go, you're going to squint at the screen, you're going to go, oh yeah, I do remember that. Like,
I think they're just going to remember the cute little Yarny guy.
Yes.
Yeah, the Yarny guy. Yeah.
Which, who knows? Maybe they'll brand and make something big out of it. You can only hope. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's my take on it. I just think their timing is off, and I didn't think Unravel gave the customer something new and refreshing for that $20 price tag on an indie.
Completely agree, Mooch. All right, Zaz, what about you, man?
I already had a 2D side-scrolling yarn guy, and it was in Little Big Planet. It's not bringing anything to the table, just like Mooch said. I mean, it it looks okay. Like, I mean, I like the depressing aspect that I keep hearing about, but I am gonna roll the dice, and hope that it gets on Games with Gold in like maybe 5 months. I can wait on it. Hopefully, it'll come up free. It's just the gamble I'm going to take with it. I don't think my life will be any worse for missing it,
Okay.
and I don't want to sound like I'm just going to blindly ignore games. But again, it just doesn't. It's not that interesting enough to justify $20.
Awesome. How about you, Blam? What did you think of Unravel?
I haven't gotten a chance to play it. Been seeing a lot about it. Same here. I mean, I hate to sound like a fucking parrot, but I mean, it's not really bringing anything new to the table, just from what I've seen. Ironically, Mooch mentioned Max Curse of the Brotherhood. I was actually watching somebody play that last night, so that game is great too, by the way. But it does kind of remind me of that game a little bit. It really is like an expensive. Somebody said it in the chat, an expensive. What did they compare it to? She-Wolf. Expensive Limbo, I think it was.
Yeah.
A more expensive version of Limbo or something like that. But
Mooch said Limbo. I said Max.
Limbo. Oh, Max. Okay, either one. But it's not really enough for me. It's not really the kind of game I'd get into. I mean, like you said, I get the whole aspect that people getting attached to Yarny and you see him unraveling and you're like, oh, let's help the Yarn guy, and I can't really get down with that, man. It's okay, I guess. I mean, maybe I'll pick it up once it becomes it's discounted. A little bit later, maybe it drops to $5, $10. Maybe I'll take a look at it. I could see something that maybe my daughter will play it or my wife or something. How long is the game anyway? How long is it?
5 hours.
It's 5 hours, but the levels seem so much shorter than that. Like you could actually go through them pretty quick.
Oh, okay. See, that's just the straw that broke the camel's back. So yes, on top of the gameplay not really being anything unique, the character is really what's pushing the game. It's not even the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like every
That's
time
the
I hear
most
about
unique
Unravel,
part.
it's about Yarny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about Yarny. It's not about the game. Like, hey, what about the game? Oh, but Yarny looks so cute. Well, how does the game play? But Yarny, like, no, dude, like, tell me something about the actual game, like. So I don't know. It's not really a unique experience for me. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and pass on it until it just is cheaper, like you said, Games for Gold or something like that. So
Awesome. All right, guys, that goes into a nice segue into the next topic. With games like Unravel, with such high production value and a huge publisher behind it, can you truly call these games indies at this point? And do you think publishers are getting behind some of these games because AAA titles are taking longer to develop and are hampered by delays? I kind of think they're taking that kind of stance since production for AAA titles, I mean, they're just going up and up and up, and like where they're competing or even beating
movie budgets.
Movie budgets. So I can definitely see that they might be going after some of these diamonds in the rough of indies and kind of pushing them more towards like a AA type thing. So yeah. I don't know. If someone like EA or Microsoft or anybody is like, publishing them and putting any kind of money in them, I have a hard time calling them indies at that point. What about you, Mooch?
Well, when you say you're having a hard time calling them indies, which one? These like kind of borderline like Unravel type.
Yeah,
games?
like Unravel.
Yeah.
And...
I don't know. Here's the thing. You said something a second ago that I'll dive a little bit into.
Sure.
It's the fact that the AAA games, I don't think it's the lead times so much as it is the money. Sony executives are on record as saying something along the lines of they could make almost like 10 or sponsor or endorse or whatever, fill in the blank, 10 or 12 indie games to one, AAA.
And turn a profit. And
yeah, exactly. Thank you, Blam. And like, to be honest with you, that as far as the businessman's concerned is huge. So they're looking at the numbers now and they're like, wow, people are actually buying this stuff. The mobile market is massive. So, Zaz said it earlier, there's a game that was $30 on the Xbox game store, and it was just a mobile port. And the thing is that's where the casual gamer lays, and where the casual gamer lays is where the money is. So a lot of these indies you're seeing, you hope you see more like Unraveled and Limbo and Again, I'll even throw Ori kind of. Ori was much more developed, but you hope you can get more of these, what I like to call slightly above AA games, and they're not necessarily indies. When I think of indies, I think of Journey. I think of Oxenfree. I think of Firewatch. I think of The Witness. I think of games that look like a Flintstones background with cartoony sketches, scenes that never really change, or 8-bit, 8 to 16-bit graphics that really, that's not
iDarb,
anymore, right?
something like that.
Yeah, iDarb, Shovel Knight, even what is it, Hotline Miami, things like that. Like those are games that are indies because as you progress through the story, nothing really changes. The level of difficulty changes, and that's really, guys. I mean, that's what the '80s was all about. If you played an NES game, go pick up Ghosts and Goblins. Okay, the scenery barely changes. The game gets really effing hard. Really fucking hard. I mean, it's hard.
That actually sounds like the new game that came out, Amazing Princess Sarah.
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that either, yeah.
You should go see it. The characters are crazy, and it looks just like that game.
Yep. I will definitely check that out. I mean, Ghosts and Goblins was actually one of my favorite games growing up, and games like Bionic Commando, things like that. Like, the games just got harder, but they didn't look any different. So, getting back to what I'm saying, you have Ori, which was different screen design and different mechanics as you progress. It was almost an RPG style. That's not an indie. Unravel, it's still in the borderline of indie because I feel it's more in the Limbo world. Limbo, as much as I actually loved Limbo, really, really loved Limbo, it's an indie. Plain and simple. It is what it is. I can't say because I liked it. It's not. But I mean, yeah, I don't know if they'll ever be able to leave that threshold or that genre, that name brand that they're stuck with, because until you really make that leap up, and there is a dollar amount that gets into it too. I mean,
right.
You have to have a certain amount of money behind your efforts before you can cross that bridge or jump over that line. So it's tough. It's tough. To me personally, my projection is that in 2019 to 2021, something like that, I don't think we're going to have quite this boom thing. I think it's going to settle down again like it did last generation. It'll kind of it won't go away, but it'll be like the arcade section again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's just there if you want to browse it, like Zaz did earlier, or you just ignore it completely.
Nice. What about you, Captain Zaz? You think these big publishers behind these games, they shouldn't be called indies?
I mean, at that point, it's really hard to tell because you do have Microsoft Studios, you do have Sony backing them up. They are getting shown at E3. They are going back to what I originally said, getting Hype Train, where No Man's Sky is being treated like it's a AAA as opposed to an indie with the marketing and stuff like that. But I mean, I have to go back to I think what really started all of it is Minecraft. I mean, Minecraft, I remember playing in the alpha when it was like on this little early access, $5 little nonsense. That game blew up. I mean, I don't know if it's just because of superior marketing or the gameplay's fun. I couldn't tell you because I'm not even sure if I really ever had fun with it. It was just addicting. It was for casual, like Mooch was saying. I mean, it's almost becoming dominated by a casual market now, which, again, drives me crazy. But as far as it being, it's very blurred right now. And I'm going to talk about this on the next console corner, this game that I've been fawning over, Battalion 1944.
Mm-hmm. Save that one.
Yeah, I'm saving it. And
Save it.
Yeah. It's to the point where if they want to put in the time and effort and not try and just bank on the nostalgia game, I think they're going to be able to do a good job. I think a lot of these indies are going to be able to become a AA title because that's really what they're going to aspire to. Now, what Mooch was talking about very beginning, Undead Labs is the name of it, right?
Yep.
Made State of Decay. Yeah, let's hope this next, if they ever make State of Decay again, is going to be like way better funded.
Well, the Class 4 is going to be that next. It's like an MMO survival zombie type thing.
Yeah, I mean, so it is going to spawn a lot of things, but then again, I mean, it's like you're going to have to find that gem along 98% shovelware, and that's just where I'm at in it. I think the lines are very well set right now, and it's just going to be a mixture of seeing what we see at E3. Because yeah, Cuphead looks incredible. Like it could be AA status, but who knows? It might just be like the same thing with a really cool skin over top of it, and not actually bring anything new to the table. Just the art direction's what's getting us. No Man's Sky might be the same way. It's just the art direction.
Well, you got Everspace with No Man's Sky there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
yeah, it's not getting the same push as No Man's Sky has been marketed to death since 2013.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. They're talking about Firewatch may get a disc version. They're talking about No Man's Sky getting a disc version.
Well, look at Life is Strange has a collector's edition.
Life is Strange. Really
Life
good.
is Strange is an awesome game. Yeah.
That was a really good game. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of those things where it could start to be where they can make their push, but again, you're just going to have to weed through the bull crap to get there, and that's half the problem with it.
Nice. Hey, big shout out to like over the 40 people that were watching us, man. That's awesome. We really appreciate the support, guys.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and go into Blam on that question.
Just remind me of the original question.
Yeah, it's indies with big backing of the big publishers. Do you consider them indies at that point, or?
It still boils down to the quality of the game. A game like just for just to use an example like No Man's Sky. That game, like I said earlier, that game's literally been marketed to death, by Sony. And so a game like that, the scope seems like it's a game that's going to be like a AA type size game. But it really is an indie if you look at the game, like art style. That's exactly what Mooch was talking about. Only difference is that you bounce from planet to planet and see different stuff. But it really is like there's nothing very detailed about the game. I mean, the art style is like cel shaded / like kind of cartoony. So I think there are some games that are like that deserve it. There are some developers that deserve it. I'm really excited about Cuphead. That seems like a game that's pushing the envelope, just going in a different direction. And like Zazzma said, it could potentially be a horrible game. The art style is very, it's really what's intriguing about the game. But just from what I've heard about it, I've heard it's really hard, it's really fun. It's kind of a throwback to those days like Mooch was talking about Contra. It reminds me of Contra a lot, actually. Just kind of the side-scrolling shooting, you get hit once and you're dead type situation. So games like that I think deserve to be backed, and this goes back to what I was saying about these indie developers pushing the envelope, and there's a lot of talent down in that pool. It's just, like Zazzma said, weeding your way through that. So I think as long as these companies get behind the right game and the right indie developer, it's fine. I hope we don't start seeing things like, like she was talking about. What's your wife play that what was it, Frozen game?
Oh,
We're not
Frozen. It's like Bejeweled.
Yeah, like if we start getting in that territory, there's a problem. But as long as it's games like Cuphead, Everspace, Elite Dangerous, all these games that are really doing something different and are pushing technology, pushing innovation, I don't have any problem with it. So. Awesome.
Hey, everybody, the busiest man on YouTube, Mr. AsthMattic, has joined us.
What up, Matt?
Your mic working, bro?
Am I in delay? Because I don't see him in here.
Nah, he's in here.
He just popped out.
He'll
come back in.
Oh, he just popped out. Okay, he'll come back in. All
right, let's go ahead and move on to She-Wolf. What do you think about that question?
Okay, well, you have like Cobalt, which is backed by the developers of Minecraft, which I'm impressed you didn't say that they're Captain.
Yeah.
That's because I don't like it.
But with some of them, I wonder if they can actually, because they're bigger, like big name producers and stuff like that, they do create the indies, of course, but then they should be allowed to put the prices cheaper and actually sell them at a decent price instead of the $20 titles and stuff like that, because they do have their big titles coming out. Like that amazing Princess Sarah one that I was talking about. That one, why I said you should check it out, Mooch. It's only $6.49. So, great. Yeah, it's actually and it's one of those old style kind of games, and then you got like No Man's Sky, and you have Everspace. They're pretty much just space shooters. Mm-hmm. But of course, everyone says they look amazing. So when it comes to big time companies backing different games, okay, that's cool. Sure, yes, they're probably still called indies, but then you should sell them at an indie price, not expecting to sell them at like a AA price or a AAA price.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point. All right, guys. So the last topic I want to get into is I want to discuss, like, in past generations, indies were looked at as like pushing innovation forward. With games we're seeing now, like Resogun, a space shooter, Amazing Princess Sarah is pretty much a Castlevania Metroid type game from like the Super NES days. I feel like we've played similar types of these games in previous gens. Do you guys feel the same way, and are indies still pushing the possibilities of gaming? Let's go ahead and start with Mooch.
Well, I mean, they are in one aspect. Like I said, I think each indie that comes out nowadays has one niche, and I'm calling it niche not as a derogatory comment towards it. It's niche in the effect that, like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but when they had the big ID at Xbox show, I watched a little bit of the behind the scenes they had on YouTube, and there was a game coming out, and I don't remember the name of it. It hasn't been out yet, where they used the Kinect and your body as you like stood up in front of it and made put your arms out. That was the level. So your arms made the level, and then once you took your arm away, like the character would just walk across, and you had to make sure that the character went from one side of the screen to the other, and you'd have to use your body to like open doors, this and that. Like, it was neat. It was neat. What I mean, the reason I'm bringing this whole thing up is that it was a way that they pushed the envelope. That, like, again, you're not going to see a AAA person or team do this. So, do I think that they have this little niche thing that they can bring something new? Absolutely, because again, they are the Broadway show. The people that get seen on Broadway in New York City, and then they're like, this kid's got talent. Get this person to Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like, this is who we want to put in our next movie. That's what you see when you see some of these indies. But the problem is you don't see the indie game go from bad example. You don't see them like going from like State of Decay to Class 4. That's unusual. Usually somebody from a really good development team gets picked up and they get put on the Halo team. They're with 343 now. So you don't really get to see a game progress generally. You get to see that one, well, if you follow that person, which is hard to do. But you'll follow that developer from his groundwork up to working on a big, working with either Activision, or they'll end up working with, 343, or they'll work with, somebody. And my point being is that that's the thing. We kind of all get lost in that. So yes, you're going to see new innovative games and ways to play games from indies. So indies will never truly go away. But I think the amazing hype and push and unrealistic expectations that the media gives us on what indies are going to be in the next 5 years are slowly already getting drowned out, I think, because of just saturation.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. So I don't want to downplay indies to say that we shouldn't, because people have to be able to stretch their creative thoughts and their wings, right? So I'm the last person that wants to stop somebody from doing that. But what I would like to stop is the Mitch Dyers and Ryan McCaffreys and the other assholes out there on IGN that spoon feed these awful indies down our throat when they know they're bad and they're just doing it to promote Sony. Sorry. I had to throw that in there last minute.
Okay. What about you, Captain Zazzma?
Sorry, you're going to have to remind me of the question. I apologize.
Zaz, I put you into a coma. I apologize.
Now, the indies, do you think they're still, pushing the industry with innovation and all that kind of stuff, or you just think they're just getting stale?
Oh, no, just definitely stale. I mean, I
Nice.
don't know if everybody is trying to be Metroid. I don't know if everybody is trying to recapture the Mario thing. It's not going to happen. I mean, it's definitely not going to happen. Those games, I think, had their time. I think we're definitely moving forward. I really am sounding anti-side scroller in every way, but I think its time is done. I mean, I think you either innovate or you die. Minecraft did something fresh at the time. They put a certain spin on it. Again, No Man's Sky did do something. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. But the difference between Minecraft and these other games, Minecraft, literally, they created a game that the community is what keeps Minecraft going. Minecraft, the actual game is fucking terrible. It's terribly simple. Like like you're walking around on a random place, a randomly generated map, punching trees, getting equipment, making shit, seeing how far you can survive. That's very, very basic. But the way they did it and the fact that the community took a hold of that game and made it what it is, that's why Minecraft like will literally almost never end. Because the community carries that game. Although I love the game, I'm a Minecraft fan. I know some of you like Mooch isn't a big Minecraft guy, but there's very few games that's like once in a generation type game. Like you're not gonna find that again. More than likely for the next 10 to 15 years.
And I have to wonder too, because you said the community, and I wonder if it's just like a absolutely good marketing scheme they came up with.
That too.
Like,
I was actually going to throw out that, truthfully, I think indies can be crushed by MMO-style games that are coming out. Because truly, that is actually kind of what Minecraft represents, is a childlike MMO.
That's true.
And then you have Ark that is coming out,
Ark,
which is in the...
Very adult Minecraft version, yeah.
And well, and that's half the thing is, there you see a lot of them like Rust now and Ark trying to catch that Minecraft thing for children, and I do absolutely back it up with their amazing marketing deal. I'm calling Minecraft like the Kiss of games because I can't tell if they're good, but I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you, and maybe Unravel will do the same thing with the little Yarny. Maybe that's a good idea. Cuphead, if they make little action figures for that, I'm sure I'll pick them up.
Oh my god, I'd buy a Franco Pophead from that one.
Well, and that's the thing. Like it's just going to be marketing. It's just going to. But in honesty, I am getting to the point where I'm pretty anti-indie. And I think the last real gambit for me in believing in this, again, I'm going to say Battalion. Pushing it back, but if No Man's Sky really, with its engine that it invented, doesn't do something special, I'm going to become the most jaded person towards indies in a while, and I probably shouldn't put all my stock into that, but it's out there, and I already did, so,
Awesome. Hey, AsthMattic, your mic working, brother?
I believe it is, as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you good. You good. What's up, Matt?
Not much. My mic's probably working better than my voice is today.
Yeah, you sound a little under the weather, man.
Yeah.
You want to get into this conversation, brother?
Yeah, I'd like to. I've never really been a super big guy on the indies myself, and I really like the points made about the value of marketing, because for me, since I'm not someone who, on my own, I'm inclined to play indies, I would probably never have heard of a game like Cuphead. Excuse me. I would probably never even heard of a game like that. But because Xbox does such a great job at E3 of promoting these indie titles, and they've got Phil Spencer himself out on stage talking about, the experience that he's had with the game and its development, and how much, and how much they're going to be pushing that game on Xbox. It really brings people like me, from outside, kind of coming into where I'm more inclined to play more indie titles. I look at a game like that and I'm like, well, I just don't know if that's going to be fun for me. I don't know if that's really my kind of game. And I really like the point you made, Mooch, about how, we typically see that diamond in the rough of there's, 150 different indie games that come out, and there's like one shining moment, or there's one, person on a development team who really stands out, and we see those guys typically, integrated into the developers that we already know. And I think that's really where, indie developers have that opportunity to really make their way into these existing dynasties of developers.
Great.
Awesome.
Good point.
How about you, Blam?
Yeah, I just want to echo the same sentiments. And Mooch hit the nail on the head when he said that, because you rarely see like the actual game, like the go from like Mooch was saying, like a Undead Lab is a perfect example, progress into something larger. Like they take that game, like, I like your idea, now let's take it and put it up on the next level. Let's put a little bit of money behind it, see what you guys can do, and see what you guys can come up with a little bit bigger budget. Maybe a bigger team, better resources. So that rarely happens. I'd like to see a lot more of it happen, because there's a lot of indie guys with great ideas. But Mooch said, it's just too far and few in between. A lot of times, like Matt just said, you just see a guy or a part of the team get integrated into another bigger team. So I'd like to see some of these studios take a leap of faith. It's so difficult because there's like in this day and age, games are like very, very difficult to market, and these developers do not, and these publishers don't want to take risks, and it's risky taking somebody who's only made a game like they only take like a studio or something like that with like 3 people. They've only done a game between the 3 of them, and then give them like a big budget and say, hey, make us another game. That's very risky to do. So a lot of companies are not even going to take the chance. They're going to say, oh, that's a great game, but we'll keep it in this indie space until we see something more further from you guys. So I'd really like to see some of these studios go out on a limb and pick some of these guys up. I really like what, like you said, ID at Xbox, what they're doing. Studio MDHR, Undead Labs. They're really taking some of these guys, and we may see another game from Moon Studios. We may see, I hope Microsoft grabs them and snatches them up before somebody else does, because I'd love to see like maybe another Ori or something like that on a larger scale. I mean, I think any of us would. I think
they got their hands on them already, Blam. I don't think they're doing anything with it.
I hope so. I really hope so. I really do hope so. So that's kind of how I feel about the situation. I'd like to see more of this actual talent, the actual game, be made and put up on a higher echelon, give it a bigger budget, and give some of these guys a little bit of a chance to see what they can do with some better resources. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, just because the risk is so high. So we'll see though.
Awesome. What about you, She-Wolf?
Well, when we talk about indies and everything, it brings me back to someone actually kind of mentioned the whole Kickstarter thing, and everyone actually puts so much money into these indies and stuff like that, and sometimes I wonder if maybe that's why people are so driven to actually play these indies, because of the fact that they feel like, I don't know, maybe they're part of the indie industry, I guess you can call it. But I don't know. I think indies in all will eventually, like I said, MMOs are kind of taking a whole new leave on the indies and all that kind of stuff. And then you also have developers that just aren't really pushing it the way that they should be. They just sit there and copy other games. They don't make them unique, which then ends up causing a lot of issues, and people just don't feel like they're worth it anymore.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like everyone else said, it's getting kind of stale to me. Like I said, I play a lot of indies for the 100K, but it feels like sometimes, like some days I'm playing them and I feel like I played it like 4 times over right now. So I do want them to push more. I want them to innovate more, because like everyone said, that's where the talent comes from. I do want the progression as well, for games to move up, like do a number 2 instead of going to another company or something else. So yeah, I'm right on par with all you guys. All right, so everyone, we're going to go ahead and open up the floodgates to take some questions from the audience. Go ahead, guys, get your questions.
I actually have a couple that I've been watching throughout the chat and stuff. There's one right off the bat from Black Tiger, so shout out to Black Tiger.
What's up, Black Tiger?
He's been around here quite a bit. So his question is, what do you guys think of the indie game We Happy Few, a first-person survival game from the creators of the BioShock series game? I like to hit this first because when I saw it at E3, I thought it was the creepiest, weird game ever, and I wanted to play it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I love the way that game looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, even though it's like weird and creepy, you're drawn to it. You just want to be like, oh my god, I could be one of those people.
It's funny, me and PTK had a good conversation about this. I'm going to let him say, some of the stuff he was talking about last night. Go ahead, Blaine.
Oh, about We Happy Few?
Yeah, man.
Well, I have been in talks with the actual the guy who's running that studio. About him coming on the show. I just kind of let the cat out the bag, but whatever. But yeah, I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued about that particular game. It always, that BioShock feel. The fact that the game mechanics, and I've seen some gameplay. I've gone to YouTube and watched some gameplay of it. It looks fantastic. It's very creepy, and I like that though. I mean, everybody's walking around in masks. You know, you have to, everybody's like, there's this drug, I guess, or something like that you have to take, and everybody's happy all the time. But when you're not, they can tell you're not happy. They'll turn on you. All kind of weird stuff. It's a weird like alternate
Everybody looks
universe.
like the Joker.
Everybody looks like the Joker. Everybody has these weird like masquerade ball masks on, different things like that. So I love it. It looks creepy, but I'm super intrigued by it. I definitely want to see more from it, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, big shout out to Jimmy Moran. He tweeted out Mooch's favorite indie coming to the Xbox One, Rocket League.
They went by Mooch.
Hey, they got a Halo car, so they gotta be somewhat worthy.
Here's my thing on soccer cars, and realistically, my whole problem with it is this. First of all, am I glad that it's coming over that people on Xbox can enjoy it? Sure, but I do think it would have been fair to do the same, give the Xbox community the same thing. Give us the first month for free, like they gave to Sony. And I understand it was different pretenses, and the whole idea was to dangle the carrot out there, and then once everybody kind of bid on it, bang, then you charge. And yes, we are getting all the DLC with our purchase, where even if you got it free on the PS4, I believe you have to pay for the DLC that's coming out. So there's a couple of things they did, and they have the Halo car, they have the Fizzy car, they have the Gears car.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. My whole thing is this. I've had such an angst with this game because I don't like how and I've never made fun of the developer. Nothing I say right now has anything to do with the developer. Good for them. I'm glad they made their money. They worked hard, and they're reaping the benefits. The issue I have is the media promoted this game like it was the next coming of Christ, and it's just fucking Pong. It's not that good, I mean, listen to me. I'm a hockey fan, okay? Don't ask me why. I'm all New York sports all the time. I even actually kind of root for the Rangers now, a little bit in hockey. But when I was growing up, my favorite hockey player was Teemu Selanne on the Winnipeg Jets, and we would play NHLPA on Sega Genesis. And my goalie was Nikolai Khabibulin. And he was like 3 out of 5 stars, and my friend used to yell at me all the time when he made these amazing saves. He'd be like, how the fuck are you doing this? He's not that fucking good. And it was like, my whole point is, that's what I want to scream to somebody playing soccer cars. Why are you that excited? It's not that fucking good. It's just not. And not saying it's not a little fun, but so's fucking that little game where you have to get the marble into the hole where you move left and right while you're waiting in the doctor's office. Those are just as much fun. Like, I don't understand the fun factor that people are getting off of this game for 6, 7, now we're on 8 months into a game of Pong. I
so
don't
then
understand.
How do you feel with it being put against Halo in a lot of these gaming awards for the best multiplayer?
Have you ever seen?
Get me started.
Have you ever seen a movie where somebody takes a glove off and smacks the other person in the face? That's what kind of happened. The developer from Soccer Cars gets up on stage. He takes his glove off and smacked the 343 president. Like, I don't understand how that can even be in the same. And forget about Halo. She-Wolf, the thing that's really humiliating is it went up category. Forza.
Yeah, as a
I think somebody at Forza jumped off of a fucking building that night.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, they were like, "That's what my life is worth," and they just jumped and they fucking slit their throat on the way down. They're like, crazy. "Holy shit, that's crazy! Like, that's insane!" Like,
I was just thinking about the new awards, the ones that's in March. Well, no, there's one in March that's going to be held, and it's against Halo and COD again. For number 1 shooter.
Oh, I did not know that.
Multiplayer, yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like the SWS Gaming Awards or something.
Oh.
They need to try something.
But, yeah, it's against Halo and COD for best shooter or best multiplayer game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people actually, like, I've had the weird, you should hear some of the DMs and the requests I'm getting on Twitter. People are like, Mooch, if you play Soccer Cars, you should do it on Twitch and donate all the people that would tune in and pay money to do it, to watch me play this game because I've hated it for so long. We have like thousands of dollars going to charity. Like, I really think it's just the most ridiculous thing.
Mooch, I just want to be in that like party chat, man, and just listening to you when you play this game.
I don't know if you want to hear me, or the people that are playing with me absolutely laughing their asses off that I'm actually in there. It would be insane. I don't know. I'm talking to Jez right now, who's a friend of mine. He's at Xbox Mad. And I said to him, I said, Jazz, are you really looking forward to this? He goes, it looks fun. He's like, people only hate it because it was PS4 exclusive for a while. I never hated it because it was an exclusive for a while. I hated it because the media made it sound like it was a AAA title that you had to have a PS4 for. And I've never heard of such a thing. Listen, here's my point. If you guys just think I'm biased towards it, hear me out. When did the media tell everybody, you're missing out on Ori and the Blind Forest? That's only available on Xbox One. You know what I mean? Nobody said that. Yeah. It's like, but for some reason, Soccer Cars was a phenomenon that if you didn't have it, you had to have this. You had to go experience this on a PS4. And that's where I think there's just this ridiculous tie-in of bias and media. I can't figure it out for the life of me. Listen, we've done a show tonight, GKB. Mm-hmm. It was a great show about indies, and not one indie that any of us have loved, hated, played, not played, or never heard of has come close to the hype and ridiculousness of Soccer Cars. And Soccer Cars is winning awards.
Yep.
I mean, and soccer, you guys played more indies than me. Wouldn't you say that Oxenfree or Firewatch, these other games, are more in depth than Soccer Cars? Soccer Cars
definitely more interesting for sure.
It's Blades of Steel with a car bumper.
Hey, Mooch, tell us how you really feel.
Oh, sorry, I get a little bit BDK's just rolling his eyes right now, like there he goes again.
No, man, I know. I let Mooch let it slide. Get this shit out. I don't want to harm nobody at work tomorrow.
What's another question you got there, Shula?
All right, we have another one from Predator. It's now that backwards compat is the thing. Do you guys think that there will be competitive? I don't know. I think he spelled that wrong, but I guess it's supposed to be like, I don't know, versus backwards compat versus indies.
You may have to reword that. If you put it back in the chat, Predator. Put your question back in the chat so we could better understand it.
You got another question, Shula?
Yeah, if you got another one.
Yeah, we have. Alan says, how can worthy indies get more media coverage other than be a PlayStation 4 exclusive?
Ooh, shit. I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's AAA games that don't even get that much coverage.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard. It's really that difficult. You'd have to literally do something. Either be really lucky, and have maybe like a huge YouTuber or somebody like that stream your game to get it like known, or just have somebody from one of these bigger companies see the game and say, hey, you got a good idea, and then they start marketing or just putting it out there, hey, this is a great game, everybody should check it out. But there's double and AAA games that don't get that much coverage, so I really don't know how to answer that question. That's kind of it's kind of a difficult question there. You have to do something unique first of all to try and stand out.
But that's the biggest. My question is then why is Cuphead so big? Like what made Cuphead that big title? And same with Beyond Eyes, I think it was. Like everyone was talking about them after E3.
I think the big draw for Cuphead, at least for me, is the art style of that game is just.
It's crazy. No, I've never seen a game in or however 20 plus years of playing video games that ever looked like that. So I mean, I think it's something that just by the way it looks, even somebody walking by, like you could be 60 years old and see that like oh, that's an old cartoon. You're like, oh no, Grandpa, that's a game. They're like, oh, that looks pretty interesting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it really it's something that stands. Nobody's ever done anything like that or made a game that looked that way. So I think just by that alone, I think that's really what's pushing the game. Besides the fact that I've just heard it's fun and it's really difficult to play, and but the art style is really what's pushing that game. I think more so than anything.
Yeah.
That game reminds me of like those old Christmas movies.
Yeah, the Steamboat Willie like Mickey Mouse type stuff. Yeah.
Predator put his question in there. He said, "Will there be competition between back compat and indies?"
No.
I don't think so either.
No, for the main reason, Predator, to answer your question, is, in my opinion, is you already own the back compat, and if you don't, they're very, very inexpensive. And Microsoft, from what I'm hearing, and this is rumor, and nothing like groundbreaking news. You guys are aware of this. Microsoft is building the 360 store, so these games are going to be between $5 and $10, and they're AAAs. Yeah, they're last gen. But let's be honest, we're also paying $20 for games that are indies that look like they're SNES games. So
If anything, too, Mooch, like if you go into the store and you see an indie for $20 and you see a AAA 360 game that's on back compat that you haven't played for $5, I know where my money's going.
Yeah, no brainer, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you don't understand. I almost ran red lights when I saw that Red Dead was able to be, and then like I got home and I mean I have the disc, and then they were like, no, the disc will be available later tonight. So I was like, all right, I'll wait, and then they were like, nope, that's not happening either. I was like, all right, I'll put it back in the tray. It's great, but like literally, there's no competition there. Back compat, you either own it, or like you said, for the same dollar amount, you're getting a AAA 360 game will always. Pretty much 98. I'll even give them 2%. 98% of the time, beat a $20 indie, even in its finest state.
I agree.
Agreed.
Anybody else want to get on that one?
Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to get in on that? Yeah, Matt, somebody, Zazzma.
No, I'm right there with him.
Right.
I don't think it can really compete.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I mean, obviously it depends on a game-to-game basis, but in the overall, Mooch is right on point there.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Predator. Like, that's kind of where the competition could be. I see your point, but I think the AAA is going to win out every time. I don't think there's really going to be any competition whatsoever.
Though the arcades, it could. A lot of those arcade games could be put against each other.
Yeah.
You got any other questions before we get out of here?
Yes, from Foxfire. Shout out to Foxfire. Or Firefox? I think I said it wrong. I'm sorry.
It's Foxfire. It's Foxfire. No, you had it right the first time.
You're right.
She knows what I mean, so it's all good. Okay. What do you guys think of Twitch gamers streaming and making a career out of playing indies? So Rand is really a big one out of that one.
More power to him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
hell, if I could sit on my ass and do that all day, I would too.
Yeah,
I really respect Rand. Shout out to Rand too if he's watching. If he's not watching, I really respect Rand because when I first interviewed him on my channel, he really has like a passion for like indie games, and he really like does this video game shit like really hardcore. And you know, a lot of the gamer score thing, that's a full-time job, man. That takes a lot of dedication. You know what I'm saying? So I really respect his opinion. I really respect what he does. So I have no problem if, you know, somebody decides to sit down and stream an indie and it gets really popular. I mean, it's, you know, we all have the ability to go on Twitch, make an account, and start streaming games. So it's not like something that's exclusive to certain people, you know. So I don't really see a big deal. You know, I don't really see anything wrong.
Just have to be a good talker.
And the piggyback on that too. I mean, any YouTuber, any Twitch guy, I mean, that's their dream is to sit there and just play video games and get paid for that all day. I mean, that's it right there.
I do agree with She-Wolf, though. I tune into a lot of them. If the person can't keep the audience, I'll stay for a little while. Yeah, I'll stay for a little while to watch the game if I'm really genuinely interested in scoping out the game for the first time. But after that, I'm pretty much out. Like, there's a lot of people on Twitch that are just like eating Funyuns. You know, and just crunch. Where did I put that Yoo-hoo? Oh, I spilled it on my carpet. Wait a minute. Hit pause. It's like, wait a minute. All right, I gotta switch to another channel. Like, you know, it's like there's got to be a personality behind it to do that for a living. And I think Rand's really good because Rand has the experience to be able to discuss what he's playing and how it relates to other games he's played. So he really does a good analysis.
Yeah. My opinion on it is I'm jealous of them. I would love to be able to just sit there and just get paid for playing indies. Sure. But at the same time, I appreciate them because of the fact that
you get to see those games.
Yeah, exactly. I can see those games before buying them. So if there's nobody doing it, then, you know, there's no way of you knowing the game. So, you know, it's kind of a middle ground thing. People are doing it to make money. Now some of these other ones that pretend to play games. I won't go into a lot on that one, but I don't think they deserve to be. But you know, it still works out both ways.
The cream of the crop, the best people always rise to the top anyway. It's always been that way. Anything you do, you know, if you're genuine, you're passionate, you got good content, it's gonna be seen. People are gonna like it. You're gonna separate yourself from the pack. So you know, I don't worry about all those people that, like Mooch said, you do have people that are not very charismatic. You know, they're not very fun to watch. They're just kind of, let me put on Minecraft because I think it's popular and I'm going to get a lot of followers type deal. So, you can definitely tell that while watching, and you can make the decision based off what you're watching. Oh, we all have the same options, so I give more power to them. I mean, if they can sit there and do that and get paid for it, why the fuck not? So.
Plus, half the time we're the ones paying them.
Yeah.
It is. It's the watchers that are donating all this money. So whether it's a girl sitting there with her boobs hanging out, or if it's a guy sitting there talking his mouth off, we're the ones paying them. So
That's true.
Well,
guys,
they really have like an important. They're really an important piece in that indie life cycle too, because we were asking earlier, like, how can indie titles really succeed in this world that's dominated by these AAAs, and it's because of people on Twitter and people on YouTube and people on Twitch who really need to shine the spotlight on those games, because there are a lot of indie titles that are amazing, wonderful games, either as a whole or as their components. There's something about this game that makes it great, or this game as a whole is awesome. And if it comes down to like, well, I wouldn't buy it without knowing, but if someone else is playing it, I'm gonna watch them do that because I can do that for free. And then if I like it, I can support that person, and then I can go buy the game and support that developer, and and the cycle continues. And I think that they're sort of the answer to that question. I think we had like 3 or 4 questions ago of like, how can indies break out of that, and how can we really see them growing more in the future? And it's because of good streamers and because of talented people on YouTube who are going to continue to promote that, that new and revolutionary content.
True.
Good point. Good point.
All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and end it now. It's been like an hour and 40 minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. I want to big thanks to Mooch for taking the time out to come join us on the console corner tonight. So I want to say a big thank you to Mooch.
Hey, thanks. Be honest with you, GKB. Thanks for having me, man. Everybody on here, I've been listening since you guys put the channel together, and it's just a lot of fun to listen to you guys. You guys are really insightful. You give a shit about games. If anyone that's listening that hasn't listened to the corner before, the console corner before, and you didn't listen to their division talk, I honestly, like at work sometimes I have so much paperwork. I put you guys on. I'm so into the division, and I loved everybody's take on it. I liked each of the way you guys broke it down differently. And you got me pumped for it. To be honest with you, I was kind of on the fence after the beta. Not like, am I getting it? That was a no-brainer. But what direction and the way things were perceived and the way you guys kind of broke it down, I was like, you know what? It was just really, really refreshing to hear your guys' take. So thanks for having me on the show. You can ask PTK. Anytime you guys want to have me on, man, I'd love to come back on and take a look at your DMs. I'm probably going to hit one of you guys up for sure to guest star on the Crossfire. And thanks for being on my show last week, GKB.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. It was an honor, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. So hope you enjoyed the second episode of the Console Corner. I'm going to go ahead and let all these guys, great gamers, and shout out their channels and whatever is going on. So I'm going to go ahead and start with AsthMattic.
Well, thank you very much for having me on again. I was happy that the show ran long enough that I was able to get out of class and get a room here to be on board. I was also lucky enough to record a couple of YouTube videos for my own channel before I got sick this weekend, so they're going to be going up today and tomorrow. Awesome. My 150 subscriber thank you video.
Hey, turn up.
Features. Yeah. So, yeah, check me out there on YouTube at the username AsthMattic and on Twitter at AsthMattic117.
Awesome. Good, Blam.
Oh, you guys all know me. PTK Blam, just got the Shop podcast coming up. I love being on you guys' podcast. We all do things together, me, GKB, and Matt. Shop podcast will resume Saturday. Have another special guest lined up. Just enjoyed the show tonight. You guys are always informed. Everybody in this chat, please subscribe to these people's channel. They're fantastic. They got a lot of great content. GKB, he works very hard. Desert She Wolf works very hard. Like Mooch said, they're quality gamers. They really do give a shit about gaming, and they do a great job of presenting that. So it was just an honor to be on here with you guys tonight.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. Captain Zaz, get that channel together, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, you guys can find me on my barren wasteland that is my YouTube and my Twitter. In honesty, I mean, I am usually consistently playing video games, so if anybody does want to find Captain Zazzma, come play some games with me. I might be doing something for Division if I can get motivated enough, but we all know that's probably not going to happen. So you can find me roaming the internet like I do, appearing wherever I'm summoned.
Awesome. Good, she will.
All right, so I am Desert She Wolf. You can find me on Twitter. My channel isn't actually on this one, so if you guys want to subscribe to YouTube, you can see me on Gamers Knows Best, where GKB is, because it's a dual one. I also just wanted to give a couple shout-outs to a couple of the female gamers, because we do exist. So you got Foxfire, you got my good friend, the Danger Queen, and Titanfall Princess, who I also saw in the chat. So there's some 3 awesome female gamers that I wanted to give a shout out to. And again, you can find me on Twitter at Desert She Wolf. So check us out. Also, always welcome to join on Xbox.
Awesome. I'm GKB, Gamers Knows Best. You guys can find me Gamers Knows Best on Twitter, also right here. We love you guys, man. We really appreciate all the support, man. It's really humbling. And as always, take care of your fellow gamer, guys. We're going to get out of here.